Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second of our Snapcraft office hours. I'm Alan Pope, and I'm joined today by Sergio and Leo. We'll get to talk to them in just a moment. Before we start, I just wanted to remind everyone that you can subscribe to this YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/snapcraftio, and you'll get updates of when our upcoming Snapcraft office hours are. We've got a playlist for that. We've also got a separate playlist for other videos that we're doing. If you want to chat to us, you can do the easiest way to get hold of any of the Snapcraft team is to join Rocket Chat. If you go to rocket.ubuntu.com, sign in there. There's a channel called Snapcraft, #Snapcraft. Join in there and you'll find all of us hanging around in there, and you can chat to us either during the time when we're making these videos, which is at 1500 UTC every other Friday, or any other time of the week. We're around most of the time. And if you ping us, then we'll see the message later if we're not around. You can also follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/snapcraftio. You'll find notifications there of news and other updates, including when we go live with these videos. So for those of you who didn't see the last one of these, the structure we have here is usually a couple of tutorials, a little bit of news, and some Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, the best thing to do is get on Rocket Chat now. So go to rocket.ubuntu.com and go into #Snapcraft, ask your questions in there. We'll keep an eye on those, and then we'll do those towards the end. I think that's everything. But yeah, remember to subscribe to the channel, and then you'll see updates. So, hey, Leo and Sergio, I noticed you dropped off momentarily there. A little bit of a fright, but you're back, so that's good.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
so we've got some news. Who wants to kick off the news?
So I'll do that. There's just a couple of items in blurb format. So there's interesting reading material for you guys during the weekend if you want, or whenever you have time, about continuous delivery in snaps. One is for Circle CI, and the other one is for Travis. One is on Insights, and one is on Leo's blog. You can get those links after this video ends on the summary of this this YouTube video. And the other piece of news is that we have cross-compilation support for Go, which is the topic of the day. We're not going to go over it, but you can successfully cross-compile to ARM HF and ARM 64 with Snapcraft, and get your Go projects just snapped for those architectures rather easily from your current host.
Sweet.
And that's it for this.
So can I just ask you a question about the cross compilation? So I'm on my AMD 64 laptop. Is there much that I need to do in order to say, you know, spit out an ARM HF version of my Go project so that I could like install that snap on my Raspberry Pi, or is this more for like in Travis and Circle CI and Launchpad?
No, it's for your local development. So what you get to do is basically say Snapcraft --target--arch equals the architecture, and it will set that project to that architecture and build everything, and at the end spit out a snap for that architecture locally.
Sweet. That's cool. That's really cool. And is that in Snapcraft that's been released, that's in the stable channel, that's in the Xenial Debian archive, or is there some special way I have to get that version of Snapcraft?
You'd probably be better off using the Snapcraft Snap, but which has more fixes in it for this cross compilation. But Snapcraft 232, which is in the archives, should also have it.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a good idea to use the snap of Snapcraft, just because you get the latest of everything. Then,
you get the latest and greatest, and you can always revert if you don't like it and complain about the unsatisfactory changes you've seen.
Sweet.
We can fix them.
Brilliant. Thanks for that.
I've pasted a bunch of links to rocket.ubuntu.com about continuous delivery. We have like 4 or 5 reading pieces, and Poppy will paste them on the description of the video afterwards.
I will indeed. Cool. So we got a bit of a demo from Leo, I believe. The subject this week, last week we did snapping Python things, didn't we? And this week we're doing Go things. You got a couple of things to demo, so I'll hand you over to Leo.
Yes, let's start. So Go is awesome because generally what you have is a single binary that includes all the dependencies that the project needs. So there are many design ideas behind Go that are similar in Snapcraft, so they play along well. And I found this nice, funny project written in Go. If you want to play while we are talking, I installed it in pocketplace.elopio.net. And this is like the most simple Go project that you can get. So let's see how to make it a snap, how to make it easily installable. Can you see my terminal?
No.
That's right, because I need to share first. It's important. All right, what about now?
Yep.
I was talking about this pocketplace.elopio.net. It's just a simple game where you can paint one pixel in one color, and then you have to wait, and other people can paint another pixel while you're waiting. So let's dig into how to snap this thing. Let's make first a working directory for this. And this is a project hosted in GitHub, which is great because we have a lot of integrations with GitHub to build and publish snaps. In future episodes, we will be talking about this. So what I'm doing first is to clone the project, get a copy from the source code in GitHub. If we see the files that it has, there's a main.go file. This is common Go. It's really small, really simple, so it's very simple to snap to. And to make the snap, we just have to create a file called snapcraft.yaml. So I want to save that file in the directory snap. And let me take a look at how does it look. I have it ready, of course, already prepared. And we'll go through the sections of this file. What about this? Can you see it?
One or two more. Cool.
There? That's the maximum. Okay, so on the past episode, we already saw some things about snapcraft.yaml. This is just common metadata, the name of the snap, version that's just human readable description of this version of the snap, a summary, and a description. Then on this demo, I would like to talk a little more about confinement. So we start with confinement dev mode, and that means that the snap will only warn when it tries to go out of its isolation. Like if it tries to do something that it doesn't have permission, it will still be able to do it, but it will log a warning. The idea is that when you put the snap in the stable channel of the store, it will be in strict mode. And that means that it's only going out of the confinement for things that you allow it to do. And well, just as before, there's an apps section where we have the actually binary that we will run when we install this snap. And the parts section is where we build the snap. In this case, we will be compiling the Go source code into a binary that in the end will end up in the .snap file. So we have a single part in here. The source is the current directory because I already cloned it into my into the directory that I will be using to snap this. And Snapcraft has a Go plugin that will do everything for you. Like it will make sure that the right commands are called to generate the binary. It will make sure that the binary is copied to the right place to end up in the snap. And in the end, it will generate the snap without problem. So take a look how simple this is. We have a plugin that will do everything for you. And finally, we have this go import path keyword, which is important because when you have things in GitHub, you can clone them, and then the direction will be different. And Go depends on this naming, this namespace for your packages. So it's like a good practice to define it to what upstream has. Then it's possible to clone it to different locations, and the snap will still build correctly. So very, very simple. Let me download this to my workspace. And back to the terminal. Are you still with me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool. So now I have the same snapcraft.yaml here, and I will call Snapcraft. This will build the project.
So interestingly, you did something while that's running. I'll just mention you did something slightly different than we've done previously, and I think in previous ones we had the Snapcraft YAML in a directory that went and got the code from GitHub as part of running Snapcraft. But what you've done is put the YAML directly in the source directory, right?
Right. And this is very useful to automate the continuous delivery. We have this service called build.snapcraft.io, where you can just say it to build a repository from GitHub. If that repository has the snapcraft.yaml, it will build and publish the snap for you continuously. So this way you can have your metadata in the same place as your upstream code and have everything automated. It's like reducing the maintenance tasks to zero because everything will be done for you.
So you've now built the snap and you're just installing it, right?
Yeah, and I'm using the dangerous flag. We talked about that last time. It's just because the snap is not signed from the store because I have just built it. And importantly here, I'm using the dev mode flag. This is what tells it that it's allowed to go out of the confinement, just logging warnings. All right, and it's installed. So if I run snap list, you will see it here installed in the master version, and here it mentions that it's dev mode. So let's run it. This is the binary I defined on the apps section, and what it does is to run a local server in port 5000. So if I go here to port 5000, you will see the same thing I had installed in my server, just locally for me. This will work in my local network.
Okay,
now,
so that's running as a dev mode snap, right?
This is not taking into account security. It's just the snap is allowed to do anything it wants, but that's not a nice thing to do. Let's change this to strict. And build again. This time, the build for Snapcraft, the build for the snap will be really, really fast because all the compilation already happened. This just needs to update the metadata that will be inside the snap. So we install it again, but this time without dev mode, sorry. So at this time, we are enforcing security, and if I run pocketplace again, it will not report any error because the binary is not prepared for this, but you will see that it stopped running immediately, which is weird. And if I go again to the server, it's not running. So the security is blocking this to access the network, and of course there are ways to solve it. So let's take a look at that.
So right now you're running in strict confinement with so it can't run and connect to the network. It can't bind to a port and is failing, right? Right.
So we have this handy snap called Snappy Debug, and what it will do is to warn you, to tell you exactly where are the confinement problems that are blocking your snap. I already have it installed, but you can install it with sudo snap install snappy debug. So let's do this. In one terminal, let's run snappy debug security with the command scanlog. This will be running there in the background. And if I run here pocketplace again, you will see a few warnings in here, locked by the snappy security, by the snappy debug application. So it tells me that something was denied. The application doesn't have permission to do something. And this is talking about network connection. Of course, this is a server. It opens on the browser. It needs to accept network connections for you to actually play with this. So let's fix it. And it's pretty simple. So again, let's take a look at the snap. And what we do is to add plugs to the app section. So in this case,
can you go into detail into what a plug is, or do you want me to go into detail about that?
Just briefly mentioning, there's documentation on snapcraft.io/docs about more of these details. But well, we have sockets and plugs, and the system provides sockets. That's like services that you can access that are out of confinement, and the snaps declare the plugs that they want to use. So when you install the snap, the plug will be connected to the socket, and the application will be allowed to go out of the confinement only for the things it declares. So in this case, I'm telling it that the snap can accept network connections with the plug called network bind. But for example, the snap is still not allowed to touch files in home, for example. Right. That's a separate permission.
So in other words, the network bind plug would be a way to poke a hole, whatever that is defined in there, right?
Right. And I'll put a link in the description to this video to the documentation page, which has the full list of all of these plugs, so you can see the reference list. Typically, a lot of the ones we use are the same, network bind, and so on. So have you rerun Snapcraft again?
I rerun it again. It was again super fast because it doesn't have to compile anything. It just has to update the metadata. I'm going to install it again. On this side of the screen, I still have the security debug running. So if I run pocketplace here again, you will see that it's still running and that nothing was locked here. So I should be able to access it here.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So now my snap is ready to be pushed to the store because it's very secure. Like anybody can install it and trust that my code will not be able to do anything wrong. The only thing that it will be able to do is to accept network connections.
Awesome. If anyone has any questions about this, then jump on Rocket Chat, which is rocket.ubuntu.com, and we can answer those questions. That was great. So I think that covers one of the important points that we've been telling developers is when you start making your snap, start with confinement dev mode and just iterate over your snap and get it working in dev mode, and then switch to strict confinement when you're ready to start testing with a wider audience and you want to push it to the stable channel. You'll need to switch to strict confinement. And at that point, you can use tools like the Snappy Debug Security Scan Log to see what additional plugs you need to specify, and also look at the documentation, which we'll link to below, that lists all of the interfaces that you might want to hook up. Brilliant. Nice one, Leah. Did you have? Do we have another demo?
Yes, we do. It's a bit more complicated in the syntax for the snapgraph.yaml, but it is basically as straightforward as this one. I won't do any building while I show this because the building would basically eat up all of our time, but I will go over the steps to actually get it going. So if I can start sharing my screen. If you want to follow through or just check this out later, you can clone the project that has everything already at this location. It is basically go-ethereum, and the project is basically an Ethereum implementation written Go. It is the official one, and the main binary that we the snap is called geth. You can guess that is Go, Ethereum. It's after that. So if we go and look at the Snapcraft YAML for it, you'll notice a bunch of familiar entries, all the metadata information. We're just going to keep it dev mode for now, as Leo already went over the ways to get a snap from dev mode to strict. The difference here is that we have many apps set up in the snap. The apps themselves, so you can set up as much apps you want, and these are not you don't have to define all the apps that are inside the snap, but only the apps you want to have accessible from the host to the snap. So if the application needs to call this command internally, and you don't want a user to see it, you basically don't need to do it. The other interesting thing here in this snap is that we are altering the command a bit to use a different data directory. The reason for this is the way snaps work is that they have revisions data directories by default. The these revisions get copied over between updates to the snap. And in the case of Ethereum, which generates a blockchain, which can be pretty big, we don't want that to be copied over and over again because you might just run out of space. So there is, luckily, a common directory. So in this case, we tell the blockchain to be generated in this directory. The thing to say here about this is what you want to put in Snap User Common is things that basically won't change with the updating of the snap. So if you depend on data structures on one version that might differ on a different version, you probably want to stick to the revisioned data directories. But if you have something that's common across all versions, a rollback won't break that understanding of the data, then it's safe to basically use this. And in the case of the blockchain, it's pretty safe. So this is just one part as well, which just has many commands. We stick to this source tag. Sorry, we have there's two different things here. We have two parts. One is geth, which is the main project, And we're going to use the local source, which I have checked out already. It uses the plugin Go. And this is the import path, which basically hints this local source on where in the Go path, if you know Go, all the import paths are absolute, where in the Go path this source should live in. If I wanted to just build one package, one binary from this, by default, it will build all the main packages it finds in this source. If I wanted to choose and just pick one of these packages, there is a mechanism for this, and it's called Go Packages, and it's a list where I can just tell it, for example, just build geth. For that, I just do github.com/ethereum go ethereum /cm. Build all the binaries because it can take long. You can go this way instead of just filtering it at the end. You guys want to build everything. What's the catch here as well? The Go we have in Xenial, which is used to build by default all these Go packages or Go binaries, is a bit older than what geth requires. So we depend on a part called Go, which is remote. And in that part, we tell it to use the source tag Go 1.7.5. And just to get a feeling of how this looks like, is to get the list of the parts locally, you basically run Snapcraft update. It will download the part list, and you can, if you don't know what you're looking for, you can search for something. Here we actually want this one, so we do Snapcraft define Go, and we can see how that part is defined. It has some instructions, who the maintainer is. In this case, it's Leo. And this is basically the part. So there's two cases, two scenarios we can have here. We can just say after Go, and Snapcraft will search up this information and add whatever entry we have in there. So in the case, we added source tag. So we just have like a new line here saying source tag inside the Snapcraft structure of building. Or we could have just copied this verbatim as is and put it in here, and it would have been the same. So what this after keyword does is say first build this, and then use whatever was built here, because we sort of depend on it, and then build this with that. Take that into account for building this. Snapcraft has a bunch of modeling for this to just work, so you don't really need to think about it in that sense.
So this is really like, if someone wants to, if something is required by your application, in this case a newer version of Go, you can reuse this part that somebody else created. So in this case, Leo created that, so that you don't have to reproduce all of those lines and figure out how to build Go yourself. Somebody else has already done that work for you, right?
Exactly. So the idea for these shared parts, which are editable today on a wiki, and I guess the link can go into a Rocket Chat, that is consumed and then exported into Snapcraft for people to reuse. And the idea is that someone already did the hard lifting for you, and you don't need to necessarily do it again. And once you have this, you can choose to just fork this information into your project and like copy it verbatim and make the edits you want, or you can use it like here and just say, yeah, I trust this information, and I just want to override this. If I didn't want to override anything and just use the defaults that are in this part, I wouldn't needed this specified. So if I just had that, I would still use Go, but I would use whatever is defaulted here. With maybe went too fast. Whatever's defaulted here in this definition. But given that I do want to override, I add that information there, and I tell it to use this source tag. All this information is basically Snapcraft primitives. To go into details that I'm not pulling stuff out of my hat and making terms up. If the Go packages thing I mentioned is all part of Snapcraft documentation. We have documentation in the command line itself. So here's the description of what Go packages does. And it basically builds the main packages you define there. If it is part of the Go path you have defined, it will just use those to build. And if it's not defined, it will go and fetch the dependency through a go get. So there's all that stuff solved for you if needed.
Awesome. And so you're not going to run the Snapcraft right now, but I guess you've got a pre-built Snap or something.
Oh, I do have it pre-built, but let's just run it for the sake of running Snapcraft. It will say it's already built. I do have one other trick out of my hat. I'm using the not yet very public per project container. This allows me to use to always build as if I were natively building, and since I'm on Artful, this will always build on Xenial, as you can see from the apt update that's running there.
Okay, so this is skipping through because you've already run Snapcraft in this directory recently, right?
Yes, I have, and it took like 20 minutes, so you really don't want to see everything. The geth package is sort of big, so while that runs, let's just leave that running there. And so I do have the geth here, and I did make a copy here. Oh, there's one thing you can ask me about this Git later. So I can sudo snap install. I need to pass dev mode because I did say it was dev mode, and dangerous because it's not assigned snap. Install geth. Get set up, and if we look at the geth package and tab, we'll see all these commands here. So this is the behavior. So we have geth, which is the main command, because and this is how it works. Let's go to the studio code. If I guess Leo mentioned this, but if the package name and the binary name is the same, then you get a top level command. And if it's different, like abgen, bootnode, EVM, it will be package name dot command name. That's the way to namespace everything. There are ways that we can go into the future on how to make all these commands look different, but that's a topic for another open hours. So if I just run geth, it will just start running. And as you'll see here, it is using the common directory. If I have not passed the snap user common data directory as an argument, this would have been a revision number or current, depending if it results links or not.
Awesome.
So I did have one more thing to mention, which is version Git. Should I get into this, or should we leave this for future episode?
We're running out of time. But so you're using a checked out version of go-ethereum, and you've put Git in the version string in the Snapcraft YAML. What does that do?
Okay, so it's really simple. If I run git log, I'll see that we have in one, sorry, I'll run tag, which is easier to see. I have a tagged release here, 1.61.6, and then I have one commit extra on top of that, which is basically a snapcraft.yaml.
Right.
So what this Git thing does is basically looks for tagged releases. So it will do, will find 1.6.1.6. It will see that there's one commit ahead for the snap I built. So we'll do add a 1, and the hash of this commit here. So if I do a snap list, you'll see in geth, well, it's 0.39, because I guess the 1.616 is not tagged one. And this is the amount of releases ahead, and this is the commit that is built from. And you'll see X1 because this is a dangerous install and not a signed install from the store.
So if a developer puts git in the version string, then that means they don't have to worry about updating that version string in the Snapcraft YAML when they do a release, because it will pull the release number from the tag, right?
Exactly. And we do that for Snapcraft ourselves to build the snap. We just do version git. It pushes continually to the store. It releases automatically to Edge. And once we're sort of ready to cut a release, once we're ready, we not sort of, but we're ready. We tag that commit, a release tag, so it's assigned tag, git tag, and push that tag, and then the store will, the Launchpad builders will, the build.snapcraft.io will detect that, create a new build, set the version to a nice version, so it would only be it would only be like v0 9.39. Without the plus git, because it's signed and there's nothing added on top of it.
Right.
And it would be like a nice release we can tentatively move to candidate or stable.
Nice. Brilliant. Thanks for that, Sergio. All done?
I think so.
Brilliant. So, Leo, do we have any questions come up at all?
Yes, we have one from Diddle Dan. He's asking about a plug for accessing SSH agent. So, do we have one? Sergio, do you know?
Okay, so let me go into not answering that specific question, but answering in the form of a way you can. Oh, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my screen froze, so I can't show you, but I'll just do it by heart. So the way you can see if there is one is running Snap interfaces, and you'll get a list of all the interfaces available to the system you're currently running on. There's work in Snapd to be able to have a way to search through these interfaces and get friendly descriptions from the command line. If not, that's not your cup of tea, you can go to the documentation and see the list of all the available interfaces on the documentation site. And you cannot find what you're looking for, you can go to the forum on forum.snapcraft.io and create a Snapd category asking for that interface.
So the process is basically Snapcraft interfaces grep for the thing that you're looking for, read the documentation, and if there isn't one, go and post on the forums and ask for one, right?
Yes, but Snap interfaces, not Snapcraft interfaces.
Sorry, Snap interfaces. Awesome, thank you. You said there was another question, Leia.
Yes, this is from Beato. He's asking, does Snapcraft generate a manifest these days?
Interesting that you ask. We have been, so there is a secret way to sort of generate a manifest through a feature flag today that we are not promoting because we haven't considered it production ready yet, and we still want it to be free to make modifications. Yesterday, we sort of finalized that with all the stakeholders we had and have a path forward. So in the upcoming month, I hope that before end of month, we might cut a release that has manifest creation and generation for you to get started with.
Yes. Can I explain a little about what the manifest is? So
you have to be quick. We've got like a minute.
30 seconds. So you saw the snapcraft.yaml where we specify packages and sources and things, but we didn't specify a commit ID. So the resulting snap, it's not clear from what commit it came from, so it's not easy to audit what source code was used when building the snap. Afterwards, when you have the .snap file generated, or for example, on my demo, I installed the Go, but I never specified the version of that deb package. In this manifest file, we will have commit IDs, we will have versions for Debian packages installed. So if there's a security vulnerability in one of the packages or one of the revisions that we used as a source, it will be easy to identify, to flag, to notify the developer that he needs to update his snap. And done, 30 seconds.
Brilliant. Nice one. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you both. That's all our questions for now. We're out of time. Sergio's rage quit. Thank you both for your demos. This will be a video will be available on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/snapcraft.io. You can also follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/snapcraft.io. The next one of these will be on Friday, the 21st of July at 1500 UTC, and I believe the topic for next time will be Electron apps. So if you know anyone who's interested in packaging up their Electron applications for Linux users, then throw them our way. If you have any questions or comments, then the best place to go is Rocket Chat, rocket.ubuntu.com. Join us in #Snapcraft, ask in there, or if you leave questions underneath this video, we'll see those as well. If you have any suggestions for future videos or other things we could do, ways to improve this, then let us know. All right. Thanks, Leo.
Thank you, Poppy. And see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, you won't actually. It'll be Martin next time because I'm on vacation. So
all right.
Yeah. So I wish you well. I'm sure it will go fine. And we'll see you all next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.